All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Mohammed Sajjad. I am Provincial Manager for Programs and Disaster Management at the Provincial Chapter of Sindh Province. I work with Pakistan Red Crescent since long as a volunteer, and since 2011, I have been associated with different designations like PMER and then DM and now Programs and DM. So this is my presentation. I would like to say that the small scale urban resilience was called the project with the urban hubs funding. So it was actually based on our emergency response force, its capacity and enhancement of its services, uh, especially in the city of Karachi, and later on it will be for whole province. Lucy, can you go to the next slide, please? If I would uh, go with the roadmap or the background of emergency response force, I would like to tell that we had been working in our provincial branch since 1989 on urban response, you can say, or the urban resilience. Resilience was not most of it, but the urban response system was established. So we had uniformed paramedics team, which was actually trained on basic fire and rescue services as well. It was consist of 150 plus trained volunteers who were actually working in relief operations, their assessments, and any kind of emergency in the city of Karachi. So it was actually started by provincial headquarters itself, and we had been conducting a big event every year that was annual field training camp, which was actually simulation exercises based, and in which we gave the scenario to the this Red Crescent Services Corps volunteers who were actually practicing and doing it with the scenarios given to them. So this event actually was uh, gathering all our Red Crescent Services Corps volunteers. Then ICRC's funding came in 2010 after almost 20 years, and it we gave the name to the Red Crescent Services Corps volunteers and changed their uniforms and everything, and they became emergency response teams. It was supported by ICRC along with the first aid trainings and other programs. So more than 100 volunteers were trained in emergency response in it, especially. And then it was four districts we were covering, and Karachi had four districts. Then in 2016, urban disaster response teams were given the name to these teams because the German Red Cross started working on urban disasters. So we included one more district in it, and then almost 25 volunteers per district were trained, and out of the pool we had in youth and volunteers. So they were actually equipped with the emergency kits as well in this time of period of UDRTs. So gradually we started equipping them and training them in the most advanced things. Then we started collecting data and information related to emergencies in Karachi, and we put it on Excel sheets and in soft in the you can say the computerized things were there. Uh, this happened for 2 years, and then provincial headquarter management decided that we have to have our own system, not being influenced by the funding or anything. So we have to be on one page for whole province, and we should develop something which may be replicated by national headquarter or the other branches later. So we converted this UDRT again. It came back to the provincial headquarters structure. We developed a proper structure for the emergency response forces, and then two newly uh, established districts of the Karachi were also included in it, and we have more than 150 volunteers. They are specially trained for this emergency response, apart from the other volunteers which we have in youth and volunteers, that is in thousands. And another new thing happened, which was actually constructed by German Red Cross. It was Emergency Operations Center. We have one a big center at national headquarters, that is called National um, Disaster Management and Logistics Center, which actually runs whole operations in the Pakistan. But the provincial branches have no such things in their provincial headquarters. So PRCS Sindh, Pakistan Red Crescent Sindh Provincial Branch, started Emergency Operations Center, which is actually can be activated at any time 24/7. And the concerned people, they are online all the time, and they connect with the emergency response force. Four centers in seven centers in Karachi. The volunteers are actually located, or their offices are within their localities where they live. Actually, we gave them some advanced trainings in which the you can see the dead body management and other things were also tried to learn. And these ERF emergency response force volunteers were given some advanced training in different training camps and different events. So these teams are well equipped now with the mobile application, which is connected with the software, which is at Emergency Operations Center, and it is web-based um, software which we actually use for any operation or relief operation sort of thing. So emergency response has become more effective and more efficient with the inclusion of emergency operations center and the mobile application and digitalization of the uh, all the information and data for Karachi city so far. Lucy, can you go to the next slide, please? So this is ERF, its structure. You can see that DM department is actually taking care of it, and emergency response, emergency operations center is the next, and which is supported by the other supporting units, logistics, um the HR, and other departments at provincial headquarters. And fleet is the most important to mobilize or to give the wheels to the emergency response force. So emergency response officer actually takes care of all these ERF teams. We have seven teams in Karachi in every district, and further we are going or working on establishing these teams in other districts of Sindh province apart from Karachi. So one team consists of district coordinator. This is very senior, or you can see the Red Crescent Services Corps trained volunteers which have long association with the Pakistan Red Crescent Sindh. Then we have team leaders who are actually responsible for any emergency case, and they respond and they inform provincial headquarters immediately after the incident happens in their locality or their district. Then they have one deputy team leader, and at least the minimum criteria is 25 volunteers. These are taken from the youth and volunteers department, and these volunteers are trained in emergency response and relevant um, subjects for any emergency situation. Lucy, can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. Then small scale uh, urban resilience thing comes in, and we got the chance to enhance our capacity. So the overall goal for this small scale urban resilience project in Karachi was Pakistan Red Crescent Society has enhanced capacities to contribute to improve the urban resilience through improved management system for capacitated, equipped, and well-connected human resource in all seven districts of Karachi. So there were two results. One was to train and equip the emergency response force, and in place at all levels of the districts, and uh, to support the urban preparedness response action. in coordination with the relevant line departments. The second result was ERF and relevant line departments have improved coordination for effective emergency response through an effective communication mechanism and adopted EOC software. Actually, this is EOC. So these were the two results which we had in this project. Lucy, can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So I'll focus on what we did actually in this result one. In result one, the coordination and follow up with the departments of the city emergency management system for joint working relations. Actually, what happens? Everybody responds during the emergencies in Karachi, but there was no strong, or you can say the uh, very good or efficient coordination system. So we tried to bring these all emergency responders of the city together under one roof, and we had help of the provincial disaster management authority in it. The second thing was that the we had the ERF concepts, but we wanted to standardize this so that those can be used in the other districts apart from Karachi as well. So we took this opportunity in a workshop which was conducted with the stakeholders of Karachi emergency response system. So we clearly defined the roles and responsibilities of ERF and what responsibilities they are sharing with the other emergency responders. Then we compiled a training package and we prepared a list of equipment for the ERF. And with the support of concerned departments like Fire Brigade, Civil Defense, Met Department, and PDMA, and other the emergency response organizations in Karachi. So this was also very good for us to enhance our emergency response kits and the relevant trainings which were actually needed for our volunteers. Then we established two new ERFs in new districts, Kemadi and Kurangi. Now the Karachi has 7 districts, so we are all over. We have our teams in all the districts. Then the training of ERF on standardized ERF training package, which we mentioned in the earlier point, and 2 new trainings were conducted for new branch ERFs, and 5 had refreshers on that. We procured new kits for our teams with some changes and the necessary equipment which we actually have to have for the effective emergency response here. Lucy, can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, these are a few pictures. Our ERF teams, mostly the district coordinators, team leaders, and we have first aid responders as well with us in any emergency situation. So these are some items of the kits we use actually. Go to the next slide, please. The implementation of result 2 was mostly coordination and the digitalization, or you can say the connecting other people with our emergency operation centers software and the mobile application. So we consulted. We had one big meeting with PDMA. They were also working in a similar type of uh, mobile application and the software with an government organization here, Sparco. So we tried to connect them with us for sharing the mutual understanding, whatever the information we can share with each other. Then we contextualized our software, which is used in emergency operation center, and developed a new mobile application as well. So this application is very handy for the teams on ground. They can send us the information, locations, and immediately they just tell us that what is going on the ground. So this is very good for us. We prepared the guidelines, updating and maintenance of the mobile application, circulated, and we orientated the PRCS staff and the other um, the organizations who are actually emergency responders in Karachi. And finally, it took a bit time, but we not only did the desktop simulation, but we have been gone on ground and we created the scenarios, and we simulated the fire incident on ground, and we tested our software and mobile application as well. So these were the things we did. Lucy, can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, that's the simulation exercise diagram. We planned it like that. In the middle, you can see the incident site where the fire was broken and the people were triggered trapped in the building. So we have two type of emergency response teams on ground. One is ERF, second is first aid responders. The rescue work and looking at the site and bringing out the casualties was the task of ERF, and then giving first aid and triage, and then shifting them to hospitals was with the first aid responders through our ambulances, which were included. You will see a video which has exercise were there. They were using getting the messages from the ERF from ground, and they were taking decisions. They were approving the things whatever is needed was needed on the ground, and they were taking decisions and communicating this. So next is the link for that video, and I think this will be played later. Lucy, can we go 2 slides ahead to the lesson learned? You are already there. So we had observed that the leftover time for this whole small-scale urban resilience project was in 5 months approximately, and the approvals and the process to start this project was actually a bit delayed in our point of view. It should be given a sufficient time earlier than the project actual timeline. The risks and assumptions must be incorporated carefully. The COVID-19 scenario affected our project, and we were late in reporting back to the donor, so it was embarrassing situation for us to we were not able to complete few of the activities within the timeline. Meetings and trainings in with the inclusion or the participation of other organizations and even our volunteers were not possible because of the COVID scenario. When other relevant stakeholders and humanitarian organizations were reluctant to participate because they were also engaged with their own uh, COVID-19 response and activities. They've been able to convince the national headquarters of the other provinces to establish the similar type of or the activities. So there was a little ambiguity between national headquarters and provincial level. So so far we have this capacity as national at provincial headquarters and only. And the short-term projects are not enough for getting the impact properly, but we tried our best to manage it in somehow, and it should have longer term funding of the programs for establishing the proper volunteers and system to retain them and to have a resilience in their activities. So the last slide, Lucy, and this will end my presentation. We feel that we have some good achievements. Digitalization of the information and data to our web-based emergency operations center software and the mobile application, it will greatly enhance our system in prompt decisions and quick responses through the and in future we will enhance this as well. So the digitalized UC with the necessary and basic resources is established. Only the provincial headquarters at Sindh, and we have next level to improve it with some kind of live maps with the Google and the other things which will enhance the system to have further better emergency responses. So the SSUR project played a vital role in enhancing the capacities of provincial headquarters as well as the ERF volunteer structure. So the sustainability of ERF structure is linked with the EOC because we have so you can say we have below provincial headquarters we have a structure now, but we have to connect it with the national headquarters, and this will be the nerve center for the Pakistan Red Crescent in emergencies. So these are 3-4 things which we see that this will boost up and scale up our efforts in emergency responses. So we'll go to the next slide, and that would be thank you so much for listening. And any questions, please? Is that okay, Lucy?
Thank you so much, Sajjad. That it's just incredible to see what Pakistan Red Crescent, what the Sindh branch has accomplished over in the span of 5 months, which was the small grant implementation period. But also really appreciated this overview of the whole evolution of your urban work, starting, from 1989 onwards, and with focused field training, then augmenting with digitization, moving toward this decentralized approach step by step. And I also really appreciated the overview of the ERF structure. I think it's been so helpful for national societies to see these the hardware and the software that comes into this. So from your EOC app to the mechanisms for improved coordination, clear roles and responsibilities that you've put into place, and this robust urban training package that you've developed as well. The simulation exercise, this video we're going to show later today, and it's well worth watching. It's an incredible video as well. So many thanks once again, Sajjad, to you and the team. This has been a really impactful project, and we wish you all the best with this work. Thanks.